Levi, can you help her with her card, honey?
Were there any kittens at Renfrew?
Were there what?
Any kittens at Renfrew?
Any kittens? We had lots of, not kittens, we had lots of cats. Miss Nicodemus was a cat lover. She had as many as 22 cats.
Oh
Oh
my
That's as many as
Sue,
Sam
that's your
had.
dream. That's
Sue, you should
Sue's
have
dream.
100.
I'd love to
so
have
you can
100.
break the record.
Well,
Sue, that's
Uh,
your dream.
and they all, now this is going to be hard to believe, but they were all fed in the kitchen.
Oh
Oh
my!
my god.
They all had their separate dish. Now, I'm going to tell you, the kitchen, I've scrubbed that kitchen floor probably 3-4 times a week on my hands and knees. And she had the cellar door. Now, have you ever been in the museum house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's a full basement underneath. The furnace was down in the basement. And these cats, it was covered with asbestos. I think that's why a lot of the cats were sick, because of that
Yeah.
asbestos.
Well, we didn't know back then. so-
No, but they would jump up on top of that furnace and lay on there to stay warm. And they had this opening in the cellar door. They could come and go out the cellar door as pleased. And I have all the cats, when they would pass away, the hog pen, what we call the hog pen, there was a door inside. I would mark down all the names of the cats that died and where they were buried. And that's still there at Renfrew.
Is it really?
Next time you go down, it's inside the, let me see, it's the building that faces the barn. The
Okay.
long building. There's a door you go in, then there's another door that goes into what was the garage, what the Nicodemus is used as a garage. And I would usually get a shoebox, bury them in my chicken yard, and then mark the name down, when they died, the date they died, and their names.
We'll have to explore that and find that record.
I think there's at least 10, maybe even more than that. Their names are there.
So-
But she loved cats. And they were all, usually most of her cats were handicapped in some way. One of them only had one eye. And their names, other names, one was Spoozy, Mr. Royer,
Mr.
and he was named after one of the carpenters that remodeled their house when they moved in.
Okay.
Okay,
Good question,
these
Natalie.
are great questions.
Okay, now it's my turn. How much has Renfrew changed over the years that you've been working there?
Well, it changed from a farm to a museum and a park. I've seen lots of change. And, you know, in 1969, Mr. Nicodemus passed away in 65. And in 1969, Miss Nicodemus said to me, now I want to tell you what I'm planning to do with the farm when I pass. Got something up. I want to tell you what I'm going to do with the farm. This is 4 years before she passed. It was 1969, she passed away in 73. And she said, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with the farm, but you can't tell a soul, not even your wife.
Oh my.
Now, every day, 7 days a week, even on Sunday, I went over, on Sunday, she'd fix breakfast. Now, did any of you ever hear of spoon bread?
I've heard of it.
It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
Oh.
it is.
The most delicious food, cornmeal fixed, and she'd fix that for our breakfast. That's what we had for breakfast. We'd talk for maybe an hour. She'd always say, come over early before you go to church on Sunday. Through the week, it was always after lunch. And sometimes we talked for 3 hours. But it was always a pleasure to talk with Miss Nicodemus. She was a wonderful lady. And I think she would look down on Renfrew today and be well pleased with what is going on at Renfrew now. And the Renfrew Institute is the second best thing that's ever happened to Renfrew. That's been in existence for 27 years, 26 or 27 years. So I've seen a lot of changes, and all of them have been very good. My horse stable is now one of the offices in the visitor center, and I tell them when I go in occasionally, you're sitting in Bob and Dick's horse stalls.
Okay, it's your turn.
Were the photographs black and white? Like when you started working there?
Oh, photography?
Yes.
Mostly black and white. Yeah. Yeah, these are very interesting questions. I'm really amazed. They're all good questions.
They thought of their own questions that they wanted to know, which allows them to have a keen interest and then find out. We're used to walking up to the computer and typing in our
Sure.
questions. So for us to have a face-to-face interview is a different experience, and I think really a great experience for
Yes.
children.
Okay, so Todd's your turn.
It's interesting to me, Mr. Miller, when I read your book, you started out with a lot of different things in your life, and then you ended up at Renfrew and cared for the land, cared for the property, cared for the people. And that truly has been your life there.
Oh my gosh. Well, see, the Nicodemus was married late in life.
Mm-hmm.
Now they never had children of their own. And I have to go back, just bear with me a couple minutes, to the year 1947. Now I started work for the Nicodemus family when I was 13 years old. And as I said earlier, I was born in one of their houses. So I worked on a farm till I was 13. And then on 13 I went to the orchard to get a job. And the only criteria was, in order to get a job, you had to be able, at 13 I weighed about 80 pounds. I was a little guy. And I had to put up a 24-foot ladder by myself and carry it 20 feet without leaving it fall.
Oh my.
God.
So 20 feet would be this room maybe twice?
Yes.
The length of this room twice would be the size of the ladder guys that he had to carry in order to work at the orchard.
And I prayed that there was no wind.
Yeah.
Then I passed and I was hired.
Yay.
But apple trees back then was 24 feet tall. And they lasted 50, 60 years. Now they have 10, 15 years, they pull them out and plant a new orchard. And the trees are much smaller. But when I, as I said, when I helped to remodel the museum house before they moved in. I was 19 years old when they bought the house. I was married and I had a daughter, Leanne, that you two know from church. And So I went to Mr. Nicodemus and I said, I'm going to have get another job. I need to make more money. And he looked at me. Mr. Nicodemus was a quiet person. He never had much to say. He said, well, I understand that, but if I ever get a house, would you consider coming back and working for us? And I said, yes. So from 47 to 52, I worked in a garage. The garage out on the point of Orchard Road and North Grand Street. And in 1952, the person that lived in the house that I live in now had a stroke and passed away. Now, Mr. Nicodemus didn't come to see me. He sent my brother Joe, who worked for the Nicodemuses also, his whole life also. And he said, Mr. Nicodemus wants to talk with you. So we made arrangements, went out and talked with him. We talked for 2 hours. And he made me an offer. And I remember it's 52. I'll pay you 60 cents an hour, your house, all the fruit you can eat, and a piece of ground to have a garden. So we mulled that over. I did a little math in my head. That's not very much. That's not much more than I'm making now. Of course, free rent, that was a big item. So after about a half hour, I said, well, I have a counter offer. The house, all the fruit I can eat, the land, a piece of ground for a garden, and you buy the fuel oil for my furnace. Now, fuel oil was 15 cents a gallon back then. He said, well, I don't do that for any of the other tenants. So we mulled that over. We get up, I'm going to go out to my car, get in the car, wind the window down. As I said, I'm 28 years old. Wound the window down, and he finally said, I'll accept your offer with one exception. I said, well, excuse me, what's the exception? You come and stay with us the rest of our life.
Wow. Lifetime commitment.
I said, I can't promise that, but I'll give it my best shot. And so I did. I stayed the rest of their life, and I'm still there. Just thought that was something you would like to hear.
It's amazing. We have lifetime commitments in our lives. We just don't realize it.
Sure.
We are lifetime committed to each other as friends because we're Miss Sue's crew. We always say once you're at Miss Sue's, you're always at Miss Sue's. We have lifetime commitments to our parents and grandparents. They'll always be in our lives. You might have a friend at school that is such a good friend that you keep them all your life.
Yeah.
And you know them all your life. And that's really wonderful too.
And that's one of the best parts of life, you know. And but there's so many stories. I retired in 1994, December 31, at 70 years of age. And I retired to write this book. Now, it only took me 19 years to do this.
Wow.
And with the help of Maxine Beck, and without her help, it probably would have never happened. Mm-hmm. What a wonderful lady. She was very good. We met at Christine's Cafe twice a month for 2 hours at a time. And I'm talking to her just like I'm talking here. And she just made notes. No recordings. She said, I'll just make notes and we'll do this book. So that's how this book became a reality. And it was written in the memory of the Nicodemuses in my life with that. And all proceeds from this book goes back to Renfrew Museum and Park.
It's a wonderful book, and we have it available, guys, to look at over the next week or so. Our friend Irene Blackburn on the corner up here gave it to us when I had told her you were going to come. We're friends, Irene and I. She's lovely.
Yeah, I know, and Irene was one of the volunteers at Renfrew for many years.
That doesn't surprise me. She's a very giving person.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's a sweetheart.
Yeah. Well, guys, if we're finished with our questions, we'll have our donuts, but I think we should give Mr. Miller a round of applause for all the information.
Thank you. Thank
All right.
you so much.